to the channel, everyone. This originally wasn't going to be an Edomite video, but it kinda amalgamated into one. Let's just say, because I originally was going to talk about the cave dwellers and all the lore behind that, I guess, per se. But it turned out the Hivites took them over. And they became the Hivites and all that stuff. So, anyways. So I want to talk about Genesis 6. I bring it up on this channel a lot, but the new people who watch these, because every video, even though, has 30 to 40 views, sometimes it gets to 100, 200. But there are always new people who watch this. So just bear with me. So Genesis 6, 1 through 5. Genesis 6, you need to understand. If you do not understand Genesis 6, you will not understand the Old Testament, nor will you understand who the demons are. You will not understand basically the Bible. Because it's a very big premise that gets very much missed in the mainstream church, unfortunately. And it's not the sons of Seth marrying the daughters of Cain. Okay. So, Genesis 6, 1 through 5. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, so that the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, and men of renown. So, verse 3 and 4 here. So basically what God is saying in verse 3 is that you guys only got 120 years before the whole world is corrupted. Right? Because you have these sons of God, these angels, right? Sons of God are always depicted as angels, right? And if you notice, this is the depiction, the difference, right? You have the sons of God, and then you got the daughters of men. We're always referenced as sons of men, daughters of men, right? Not of God. These are direct creations of God. We are breathed by God, per se, right? But we're, through the process of copulation, right, we come from. But he provides the spark, right? And molds us, I guess you could say. I don't know if I'm explaining that too well. Anyways, I better stop. You guys get the gist. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This wasn't just partying and pillaging and all that stuff, right? Because if so, we might want to put on some raincoats, right? No, this was these sons of God coming down, mating with daughters of men, but also with animals, and creating the the mythical creatures of old, right? The satyrs, which we're going to talk about here with Mount Seir and what Seir means and stuff. But anyways, so this is the same premise here of Genesis 6. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go unto them and defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants, drugs, pharmakia. And they began, they became pregnant, and they bare giants, and whose height was 3,000 ells. These are your titans, right? Of old, you can say, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And ready? And they began to sin against the birds, beasts, reptiles, fish, and devours one another's, body parts and stuff like that. Let's just say. and the Lord laid accusation against the lawless ones. This is akin to saying what is in Hebrew Nephilim, which means the fallen ones, comes from the root word nafal, which means to fall, basically. So, there you guys go. So now we have, and also in other parts, like in the book of Jasher and stuff like that, it talks about how mankind started doing this too. They started mixing, humans with cows and humans with birds and stuff like that. So, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, the reason why I get into that, so we're going to go into the cave dwellers, which the inhabitant of the Horites, right? The inhabitants of Mount Seir, the inhabitants of Edom in later times, because they came and took over, right? They cleared out all these Nephilim tribes that they were supposed to and all that, because God mentions it, that, hey, they cleared it out, like, you need to do that like your brother, like Esau did, is what he says, right? But something happened. Okay, so, anyways, from cave dweller or troglodyte, or Chorite, or Aboriginal Edomian. Edomea is basically Edomite. So, very interesting how these Edomites are showing up everywhere now, right? They're taking over. I'm going to put a card up so you guys can see my first video on the Edomites and how they took over Israel during Jesus' time. And what happened, a Maccabean Roman general came in, forced the Edomians to, get circumcised, all that stuff. And they kind of amalgamated Judah, the kingdom of Judah, and Edomians, which is why you get Judea, right? It's where Judea came from, right? Because before it was the kingdom of Judah, and then this is where you get Judaism. What a lot of people don't know is Herod is Edomite for hero. So the Edomites pretty much took over the kingship of Israel and the Sanhedrin, and had control over the Pharisees, Sadducees, right? Jesus saw through this, by the way. And basically the Pharisees and the Sadducees amalgamated and they became the rabbis. This is nothing against Jewish people, okay? I'm not anti-Semitic, and I mean, Jesus was Jewish, for goodness sakes, right? And the Christians who started the Christian faith were Jewish, right? So nothing against the Jewish people or anything. It's these doctrines, right? The doctrines that I have a problem with. This goes with the Christian church, right? There's a lot of doctrines in the Christian church that are ridiculous. But anyways. Okay. And what's interesting about the Edomites, I'll bring it up here in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, oops. Forgot to. So the troglodyte were people mentioned in various locations by many ancient Greek and Roman geographers and historians, including Herodotus. And all these names, I'm not even going to try to. Josephus was a Roman Jewish historian who wrote about Jesus as well, by the way, and wasn't, he didn't believe, of course, but he did write about Jesus. He was there during Jesus' time. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, coffee. All right. Aristotle believed that they were a dwarvish race of troglodytes dwelt up or on the upper course of the Nile, who possessed horses and were, in his opinion, the pygmies of fable. So here we go. These little guys here, right? Got this little guy here. And their thing was the storks. They were fighting against the storks. Which is kind of funny. But anyways. Or the cranes, sorry, which I guess is storks, I believe, right? The pygmies were a tribe of diminutive humans in Greek mythology. Okay. These are the little guys, right? Now when the men of both sides were set in order by their leaders, the Trojans came on with clamor and shouting like wildfowl, as when the clamor of cranes goes high to the heavens, when the cranes escape the winter time, increasing in the clamorous wing of the streaming ocean, bringing to them the Pygmean men bloodshed and destruction. Very interesting. They said to a fight with the pygmies. But anyways, the pygmies were often portrayed as pudgy, comical dwarves. And then shows a battle of human pygmies with a flock of herons. That's in Crimea. But anyways, oh, here we go. That's what it was. So if we see here, protected north by range of mountains, or beyond these, the most outlying mountain region, were told of three span Trispithmia pygmies, or pygmi, who did not exceed 3 spans. That is 27 inches in height. The climate is healthy and always spring-like, as it is protected on the north by range of mountains. Very interesting. This tribe, Homer, also recorded as being beset by cranes. It is reported that in the springtime their entire band mounted on the backs of rams and she-goats armed with arrows. Anyways, okay, I'm going to move away from that. So 1 Kings 11 through 1 through 2. This is what happened with the Edomites. Anyways, 1 Kings 11, 1 through 2. And King Solomon loved many strange women. So this is why God tells them not to mingle with these people, because they're strange women. They're not just foreign, right? You know, God's not racist, okay? It's because they're not human, right? They're something else. They're human/animal, or human/angel, right? I mean, there's some funky stuff going on there. This is what happened with Solomon. But if you notice, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, and the Edomites, and the Hittites, and the Zidonians, of the nations concerning the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Right? They're going to do this. They're going to teach them charms and enchantments, the cutting of roots, and equated with plants. Pharmakia, sorcery, right? And they're going to bewitch them and get them saying, ooh, I like this, right? Anyways. Now, this is where I want to get in. This will happen to Israel now too, right? So the children of Israel dwelt, I don't know why I put all the rest of these, but verse 5 through 7 here. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, the Amorites, Perizzites, the Hivites, which are basically Edomites, and the Horites. Well, Horites and Hivites, kind of in the same region, basically, let's just say. And the Jebusites. Ready? And they took their daughters to be wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their gods. Same thing going on here, right? Maybe there's a reason why God has a problem with all that stuff. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and forget their Lord their God, and served Balaam and the groves. We all know who's worshipped at the groves, right? The goddess, but also Astarte, Ishtar, Isis, and Lilith, which screech owl. You can look this up, Strong's Concordance, in Isaiah, the screech, which, you know what, I should bring that up. I should bring that because it talks about satyrs as well, what we're going to get into. So, right here. Okay, and the beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. And actually, before that, it even talks about dragons. And they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. And her princes shall be nothing. Her, you see that, her princes? And thorns shall come up on her palaces, nettles and brambles and fortresses thereof. And it shall be a habitation of dragons, and a court for owls. This is where you get into the satyr and all that. Right here. And the screech owl also shall rest there. Ready? And there shall the great owl make her nest, lay, hatch, and gather under the shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Very interesting. So let's go. I'll just do it for you guys here. Okay. A female night demon. Lilith. So Lilith's not the first wife of Adam, okay? That's just Jewish mysticism, basically. But no. She is a real character. But she's a just look up Isis, Ishtar, Inanna, stuff like that. They all look exactly the same. They have bird wings and stuff. Here, you know what? Might as well do that too. So let's go Isis. So you'll see Isis wings here. She also has the horns, right? These wings and horns. Okay. Let's go Inanna. I think that's how you say her name. Right? Bird. You even have, let me see if I can find one that doesn't show naked. You see she has bird feet. Crap. Trying to find one. Yeah. Anyways, you guys can go look that up. And she even has the Ankh as well, which is very interesting. You guys can go look that up yourself. Here we go. Here's a good one. There's that. But here, I'll just do that. You can see she has feet, right? Bird feet. She's got bird feet. So, there you go. Okay, let me exit all those. Oops. Okay. So now you see what's going on, right? But anyways, so now we got Scandinavian trolls. So some folklore beings that come up regularly in Northern European culture include trolls and the like marginalized creatures with mostly negative personae and the long traditions. Basically, they're saying that these are the Neanderthals. Neanderthals, in my opinion, are 500, 800-year-old humans. This bone right here, the forehead, never stops growing throughout your lifetime. Okay? Never stops growing. Neither does your pelvis area around here. So imagine living 500 to 800 years. It's as simple as that, right? But anyways, but yeah, you got the trolls and oh my goodness. Okay, trolls, however, are often difficult to define as mythical creatures with possible meanings shifting throughout Scandinavian literature, and they sometimes possess magical powers that cannot be explained by late sagas, since Icelandic literature preserves in writing what may have been recorded in prior Old Norse oral tales. Trolls are sometimes enlarged into huge creatures which connected old Jotun or ancient ice giants. Remember Genesis 6? Okay. So, very interesting. And now we're going to see how the Horites and the Hivites are basically the same thing. So the Horites and Horum were people mentioned in the Torah. So this is a not a legitimized, I guess you can say, website. So take it with a grain of salt. I do want to say that. But anyways, inhabiting, I have the information that comes from this. I have seen to be factual. I'll just say from other sources and stuff. So inhabiting areas of Mount Seir. This is very interesting. So Mount Seir. Let's go. Um, So Seir, standing on the edge, bristling, shaggy, hairy, rough, shrinking, shaking, shuddering, stormy, tempestuous, horror, fearful, he-goat, satyr, wood, demon. There's a whole place called Mount Seir, which is very interesting. So it comes from, the Seir right here. This is where you get satyr, stuff like that, right? Seir, hairy, can mean he-goat. Where is it? Ah, darn it. Devil, goat, hairy, kid, rough, satyr. So, see how these Edomites just became corrupted, right? The Edomites were good from the line of Esau, and then they came in, man, and just, yeah. Okay. And what's funny is Abraham negotiates with Ephron, right? With Sarah's grave plot stuff, right? His name means fawn-like. So, there you go. Very interesting stuff. Oops. I keep going too far. Okay. So, you guys can see how the Horites coexisted and intermarried with the family of Esau, the grandson of Abraham through Isaac. So there we go. Who are the Horites, the cave dwellers, troglodytes, these entities, right? Mount Seir, Mountain of the Satyrs, is basically what it means, right? And what's interesting, Mount Hermon has a place that when Jesus said, and the gates of hell shall not prevail, it's the Grotto of Pan. I do believe. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe it's the Grotto of Pan is what Jesus was, at there or whatever. Anyways, so now we're going to go over the Edomite deity that became the Edomite deity, Kos. He was the Edomaean, so when you hear Edomaean, it means Edomite. Structural parallel to Yahweh. The name occurs only twice in the Old Testament, in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, as an element in a personal name, Barakos, son of Kos. You're going to see here Kos, in my opinion, is Satan. And what do we hear in the book of Enoch? The son of the serpent. You see, basically the beast of Revelations, right? God, the son of Jesus Christ, right? But then on the other side, you got, the serpent and the son of the serpent, right? Which, in my opinion, is Lucifer. Lucifer is not Satan. And Isaiah literally calls him a man, anyways, the same Lucifer scripture. But anyways, I digress. Okay, son of Kos, compared to the Hebrew Benaiah, meaning son of Jah, referring to the father of a family or clan, perhaps Edomite, Edomaean. This is very interesting, that they have this. Sounds like Satan is going to use this. Use the Edomites to infiltrate the people of God, right? And so in Judaism, their Messiah has to be Jewish, right? Well, of course, Jesus was Jewish, but they don't believe Jesus is the Messiah. And even in the Talmud says Jesus is boiling in hell with manly fluids, unfortunately. And if they would get away from the Talmud and the oral Torah, they would see that Jesus is the Messiah, because he's all throughout the Old Testament. And the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah, to Isaiah. You see it all the time, to Moses, the word, the angel of the Lord. Anyways, I digress. So the word Kos is never used on its own in the Tanakh. However, it does unambiguously appear twice as an element in personal name in Ezra 2:53 and Nehemiah 7:55 as Barakos, son of Kos. So, Nabatean depiction of the goddess Atargatis, Lilith, right? And the eagle on her head is believed to be a symbol of Kos. So, if Satan's not Lucifer, he's not a cherubim either. He is a seraphim, and I'm going to show that to you. So, seraph, they are mentioned in the Bible, by the way. They're just never brought up in the mainstream church, and I don't know why. But anyways, seraph, a fiery serpent. Numbers, a flying serpent or dragon, right here. Right? So what is Satan called? That old serpent, the dragon. So why are we calling him a cherubim and all this stuff which has no biblical evidence for? Why are we saying he's Lucifer when the scripture doesn't say that he's Lucifer, right? If we bring it up, Lucifer sounds more like the beast of Revelations than he does, Satan. And in the beast of Revelation, the beast, right? He comes in up out of the bottomless pit, right? In Isaiah, Lucifer's put into the bottomless pit, but then he comes up out of the bottomless pit, right? Anyways, you guys can check out my Rise of Atlantis video, the Seed of the Serpent video I just did, I have a Lucifer, son of perdition, that should be on kind of on the top of the page or you know, on my screen channel. Anyways, I better get this going. It's being long enough. Anyways, so this is Book of Enoch, chapter 20. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who was over paradise and the serpents and the cherubim. And the serpents, this is seraphim. What is Satan called? A serpent, right? He is not a cherubim. So why do I bring this up? Well, whenever you see an eagle, and kind of an eagle with the pointy back head, it's a depiction of a phoenix. Okay, here's a phoenix, fiery serpent. Now, if you see like you say, well, no, that's an eagle, that's a bird, right? But if you see a lot of the depictions of a phoenix, they have the slit in the eyes. Birds don't have slits in the eyes. As a bird person, right, I can tell you, they don't have slits in the eyes. Snakes do, right? Serpents do. But not only that, you have these guys. Let's go. Serpent. Fiery serpent dragon. So you have like this as well, right? Okay. So why do I bring this up? So 2nd Esdras was in the 1611 Bible, or King James Bible, but still take it with a grain of salt. But you're going to see why. It's very interesting here. Okay, so vision of the eagle and the lion. We know, I'll just say this, I'll give you a little spoiler. That lion is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. I'll just say that. On the second night I had a dream. I saw an eagle with 12 feathered wings and 3 heads, and rising up from the sea. Very interesting. You're going to see it's coming up out of the abyss, right? Okay, and its wing, or as it looked, it spread its wings over the earth, and all the winds of heaven blew toward it. Okay. Now, and I looked and saw the eagle rise on its talons and call out to its wings, saying, "Don't all watch together. Let each one sleep in its place and take turns watching. But the heads," pay attention to that, "will be kept for the end." And I looked and I saw the voice didn't come from its heads, but from the middle of its body. Okay, I gotta see which ones I wanted to read here. Okay. Then a voice rang out saying to this wing, "Listen. Okay, you have sway over the whole earth," and this one began to disappear. So basically, they come to power, right? These wings. Okay. Under the head and remained in place. I watched these little wings plotted. Okay, and one of the heads that had been at rest, one in the middle, woke up. This one was bigger than the other heads. This is Satan. Okay? So the middle head is the bigger of the 2 heads, or the 3 heads, right? And he's waking up. But notice what happens here. Okay, after all this, I watched as the middle head, just like the wings, suddenly disappeared. Why is that? So we have in the seals, right? Tri-headed eagle. So let's go to images. You'll see this, right? You'll see 2 heads, but then this missing head with a crown on top. You'll see this in almost, Russia, the Byzantine empires, right? You even have this one, three-headed with the crown on top. Okay, I'm afraid to put that one up. I mean, you got this. Oh, there it is. I think that's the Byzantine Empire, I think. Yeah, I think that's the Byzantine Empire. Interesting symbol, isn't it? I'll just say. Here's America. But see how it's disappeared? But it's got the crown. It's disappeared. This is why. John 12:31. Here's Jesus. This is Jesus talking. Now is the judgment of this world. He's saying now. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. So you are not taking Satan's best shot right now. He's there advising, per se, right? In the abyss. Did I put that? No, I did it. Hold on a second. Let me show you here. For 1,000 years. That's a whole interesting subject in itself. But so let's go here. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And I saw the angel come up from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. So he's being bound. He's been thrown in prison. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, Satan. So, dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil. It's that simple. Why can't... anyways, I'll shut up. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled. Very interesting subject in that, but I won't get into that here. Okay. So yeah. But now we have him. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. Now what does it say? It says, and the feathered wings and 3 heads rising up from the sea. So I want to show you Isaiah 6:2, and above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings, and twain he covered the face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. So it sounds like the Edomites have this, bloodline within them, right? That they Satan is using them. Let's just say, right? Because if we remember, Kas, one of the chief deities, which is Satan, in my opinion. Okay, now, here's another one of the 2 heads, or the 3 heads. I don't know who the third one is. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But anyways, Isaiah 14. Oh, this is the Lucifer scripture, right? Okay. Isaiah 14:25-29. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that stretched out upon all nations. So if you remember, I saw the eagle flying with his wings to rule over the earth, and over who lived on the earth, right? Oops. Okay, stretched out upon all nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and he shall disannul it. and his hand is stretched out, and shall turn it back. In the year of King Ahaz died was the burden. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery, flying serpent. So there's another seraphim. So we got two. One of these days I hope to figure that third one out. I really do. So, very interesting. Here's the Assyrian again. Isaiah 10. Now I'm going to show you he's coming again, right? That he's the destroyer. The Assyrian, you can label him the destroyer. Okay, Isaiah 10, 5-7. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. There's the staff again. I will send him against the hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge, to take spoil, to take prey, to tread them down like mire of the streets. Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy, and cut off nations, not a few. Alright. Revelations 9, 1-2. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were dark in the reason of the smoke of the pit. Okay. 11-14. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, which means destruction, the destroyer. But in Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. So these guys, remember, here it says they are, but the heads will be kept for the end. So there you guys go. Very interesting subject this came to be. And we should take a look at this Edomite bloodline, because it seems like they took over everything, and they're still in play. I do believe they're still in play. We have, what are what are called the Zionists and stuff like that, right? So very interesting, very interesting. Not saying they are, just saying, something to think about, to look at, right? But anyways, guys, the Bible is the truth, right? And Jesus Christ is the only way to the Father, and the truth will set you free. And this stuff sounds crazy, ridiculous, stuff like that. I get it, I understand it, but you really have to ask yourself is, why do tribes all the way around the world who have no contact with each other talk about the same stuff? Right? You have the Bible talking about the deep and, what would be akin to the goddess Hel, or Hela, and it's talking about rivers and stuff like that way before the Nords were even on the face of this planet, right? You have to ask yourself that. And there's a lot more going on, right? And the reason why this stuff ain't happening at this moment, because of Jesus, right? And because of Michael. It's right here. I'll bring it up real quick. KJV. This is what it says. And at that, Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, with standards for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. In that time thy people shall be delivered, every one they shall be found written in the book. In Enoch, it says he's the one over chaos, holding back chaos. So, anyways, guys, I thank you for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.